I took walks on my lunch break. I started the job 2 years ago, my first desk job ever. Before that, I waited tables and stocked shelves, and I was always moving. Within 8 months, I noticed my jeans were tighter, and I got winded walking up 2 flights of stairs. That scared me more than the number on the scale did. So I made a rule for myself. I get a paid hour for lunch. I eat in my car in the parking garage, usually leftovers in a plastic container. Takes about 15 minutes. Then I walk laps around the garage, 3 levels, headphones in, listening to a podcast. I'm back at my desk by 1 p.m. every single day. My badge scans prove it. Nobody said a word about it for over a year. Then in June, I ran into Dale from Accounts Payable. He was digging through his trunk looking for a phone charger he swore he left there. He asked what I was doing, and I told him. Ate my lunch. Now I'm walking off the rest of my break. He got this look like I'd told him I was skipping out on work. He said lunch is for eating, not exercising, and once I was done eating, I should head back up. I told him I get a full hour and I'm using it the way I want, and I'm never late. He just shook his head and walked off toward the elevator without saying bye. I didn't think much of it until the next week. I started noticing little comments right before I left for lunch. Someone named Priya said, "Off to the gym," in this flat voice that wasn't a joke. A guy on Dale's team, Nolan, started timing how long I was gone out loud, announcing it to the row of cubicles. One of the admins left a granola bar on my desk with a sticky note that said, "Maybe eat this at your desk like a normal person." I laughed it off, but it stung. I asked my manager, a woman named Odessa, if there was a problem with what I was doing. She told me flat out no. I hit every deadline. I answer emails if something urgent comes in, and what I do with my paid break is my business, as long as the work gets done. That should have been the end of it. It wasn't. Dale kept talking. I found out later he'd been telling people I made the office look bad, that clients would see me pacing around the garage and think we don't have enough to do. No clients ever come to that garage. It's employees only. Badge access required. He just didn't like it and needed a reason that sounded less petty than it was. By August, someone filed an anonymous complaint through the company portal about time management concerns on the 3rd floor. HR had to take it seriously. Denise from HR called me into a small conference room on a Tuesday morning and told me there'd been multiple complaints about extended lunch breaks and inconsistent hours. My stomach dropped even though I knew I hadn't done anything wrong. She said it wasn't disciplinary, just fact-finding, and that she was pulling badge and time logs for the whole floor going back 4 months, since the complaint named the floor and not one person. I sat there while she typed, and I watched her face change. My logs were exactly what I said. Out at 12:03, back in at 12:58, every day, like clockwork. She nodded and said that matched what my manager reported. Then she scrolled further and got quiet. She turned the screen toward herself instead of me, which made me nervous, and asked if I could step outside for a minute. I found out what happened 3 days later because Odessa told me straight out, since it involved the complaint against me and she thought I deserved to know. Dale's badge logs showed him leaving through the side stairwell door, the one that doesn't need a badge to exit but does to re-enter, almost every day for months. His official lunch clocked in around 50 minutes on paper, but loading dock camera footage, pulled because his badge showed gaps that didn't match, showed him driving off for close to 2 hours most days, then slipping back in through a coworker who'd hold the door so it wouldn't log a late re-entry. Turns out he'd been running errands for a sidecar detailing business, picking up supplies, sometimes meeting clients, all on the clock. Denise said the discrepancy had been sitting in the system for a while. Nobody had looked because nobody had a reason to, until his own complaint triggered the audit. I got a 2-line email from Denise saying, "The concerns about my schedule were reviewed and no action was needed. Thanks for my patience." Dale got called into that same conference room the following Monday. I wasn't in the room, but I didn't need to be. He came out with his face bright red, grabbed his jacket, and didn't say a word to anyone the rest of the day. 2 weeks later, I heard he'd been moved to a different floor, reporting to someone new, with a formal write-up in his file. I ran into him by the elevators not long after, both of us waiting, neither saying anything. When the doors opened, he stepped in first, and as I walked past him, I said, "Have a good lunch," then pressed the button for my floor before he could answer.